Hey everyone, it's Armen from ArmensCraftRoom. Let's open up this 2024 Spellbinders Crafty Advent Calendar. I bought this at the same time that I bought the 2025 calendar, and this one was on special because it was a year old. And I really wanted this one because I watched Hannah over at the Mostly Paper Crafts channel here on YouTube make so many cool cards with just this advent calendar. I was very impressed. And they had a lot of nifty stuff in here and some really cute animals. So let's dig in. Alright, on first look, you could get some card fronts out of these doors. And we'll probably cut this out of the front later and maybe the clouds for use in some cards. And it looks like we're going to get some type of frame dies, a French bulldog, a flower with vase, and hot air balloons, some stamps, embossing folder, and a stencil at minimum in here. Now, let's see, day one. We're just going to open them all because this is an older calendar and honestly I already know what's in here. I just want to use the stuff. So, alright, day one is the hot air balloon. And I kind of appreciate if they're giving you spoilers on the back that they put that isn't, not all the front days because you don't want to be not surprised for like 6 days in a row. But I like that like day one is one of the ones from the back. That way, you know, you've kind of know what you're getting, and the surprises, I don't want to say fully ruined, but somewhat ruined when they put it on the back. But I also like seeing the little sneak peeks because, you know, you kind of want to know if you're going to like anything in there, right? Alright, now all the Spellbinders dies are always quite detailed. This is quite a few pieces here. Alright, so we've got the flag, little banners. These you can put on top of the little triangles to make alternating colors. We've got a hello. These crescents go into the hot air balloon. This one here is the center. And we've got a basket and a little bow. Lots of bows in the advent calendars and Spellbinders. And then the little topper for this flag as well. And here we go. This is day one, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 die pieces. Alright, for those of you new to my channel who haven't seen my advent calendar videos before, I do have an entire playlist of Spellbinders advent calendars. And I put their advent calendar dies on these small honeybee stamps, magnetic pocket storage units, and then on the picture part of the die, I write down how many dies and what calendar and the day it came from, and I slip it in the front so that when you're flipping through you can see the finished product and they're nice and tucked away. Alright, day two, much bigger. This looks like it's probably a stamp or stencil based on the size. Alright, I'm going to say this is looking like a stamp because it's got sentiments on here. And I just trim off all the pieces that are not completely smooth because they'll catch in storage and fray over time. Alright, hello friend with a nice little corner stamp. Let's see. There we go. And for these stamps, they sell the envelopes without the magnet, and I like to stick them into the envelopes. And we'll label this as well. This is day two, so I just write in that it's Spellbinders, you know, in case you were to get more than one brand advent calendar. 2024. And I do write Crafty Advent because they also do a Stitchmas calendar every year. And so there are multiple calendars you can purchase. Alright, and then I like to grab a little bit of white backing paper or cardstock to put behind the stamps. It just makes it easier to see them in the folder. And then we'll put the little cover piece in here. And there we go. It's a completed stored stamp set. Alright, day three is way over here, and it's narrow. I bet sequins. Oh, it's a die set. Even though I already know what's in the calendar, I don't actually remember what is under each day, even though I watched other people's unboxings. So it's still kind of fun when you hold it for a bit and forget what you watched, because even though, you know, you're like, oh, I'm gonna like everything, but it's still semi-surprised because you don't know when it's gonna pop out. All right. Oh, this is maybe the smallest bag I've ever seen. All right. For day 3, we have a floral die. And let's see, stems, centers, a couple of different type of flowers here. That's quite a few pieces. All right, and here's day 3. 10 pieces. Okay, day 4, long and narrow. Honestly, I'm not sure. This is really skinny. I'm going to assume it's dies. Yeah, dies. Okay. It's almost difficult to get out. It's so skinny. Alright. I don't reuse the bags from the calendar because I just think that they're too hard to not rip when you're opening them. So I always just grab something reasonable. Oh, happy birthday. That's an excellent one. Thanks so much. Another excellent staple. And hello friend. That is, truthfully, that's a pretty perfect die set there, especially for a beginner. Although if you have a die cutter, you're probably not like beginner, but that's good stuff. You can use that all year round with pretty much any card. Okay, day 5 over here. Not really sure. Is this another long die set? It's very skinny. For those of you who don't know, when I did the 2025 Crafty Advent Calendar, I unboxed it with the design team during December. And it was my goal to follow Hannah Marie from Mostly Paper Crafts method of trying to craft with is basically pretty much only the advent calendar stuff, and to see how creative you could be. And I had so much fun. I plan on doing that with all the advent calendars over time. Obviously, this is very late, so it'll just be whenever I get to it. But I'll keep all these together, and then we'll go ahead and probably just make one show and tell video at the end, because it's not a surprise to people what's in here. All right, this one is like a loopy, I don't want to call it a border die, but I mean, you could use it on a border. It's a fun accent. This was one of the dies that I had really wanted out of this set when I watched Hannah open hers. I was like, oh, this looks so great for like birthday streamers or just general, pretty much everything. And don't forget, you can emboss dies as well using the rubber mat feature. So there's multiple looks you can get from this. And the fact that they include 2 is wonderful, because then you could even run them along like this and attach them once you cut them out. Anyway, 2 pieces. This is a really great one. Okie doke, moving on to day 6. Oh, this is a small little door. I think this one will be sequins. Usually there's sequins for embellishments, so you can kind of create full projects, assuming you have your own paper and glue. Oh, it's the bee. Okay, here's another one. I ended up falling in love with this bee-themed paper from Stampin' Up, and I bought, I don't know, like 4 packages, so like, you know, almost 50 sheets of paper. And these are like 12 by 12. So when I saw this bee, I was like, I absolutely have to have this bee, because I don't have a bee die, and I have, I don't know, 30 some odd sheets of that paper left. And it didn't come with any cut parts or anything in the paper. It's just, you know, fun designs. So I was like, this will be very, very well loved here when I pull those papers out again. All right, so we've got his face, his wings, which would be fun in vellum, his body. Oh, okay, these look like arms. This goes on top of his body, so you're going to cut these out probably in black, this other one in yellow. If you're going for realistic, you'd layer them on top, and that's how you get the stripes without having to commit to tiny pieces of paper. Got a little bit of a flower there. These are his antennas, so you glue them on top to get a different color. These are the eyeballs, this little die. And we've got a little hexagon, I think more for decoration, and then a flower stem. All right, this is a cute little set. Now, when I buy these kind of size sets on the Spellbinders website, they're usually on sale for like $7 or full price more than that. So this calendar is a great deal when you think about how many of these small sets you're getting. All right, we've got a lot of dies and a stamp set. We currently haven't got any embellishments or any stencils or embossing folders yet. I'm going to guess here, based on the size, that day 7 is going to be some stencils. Trying not to damage the door too much because I'd like to use it, and it is stencils. Let's see. A floral layering stencil. I like to just trim off all these gross perforated edges. It doesn't matter to me that they're not perfect. If it matters to you they're perfect, put this in your paper trimmer. It's chipboard. Alright, day 7 stencils. So I'm just going to show you the thing because the stencils are clear. So you're just going to layer them up, and all these will layer to make one image, which would have been nice if they showed a completed image. Okay, so I'm going to hold these together up against this magnet here, and if you can kind of see through the layers to get an idea of what that's going to look like when you're done, you'll just have to imagine some colors there. Now this stencil will fit in my folder, which is great. Sometimes they're a different shape and they don't fit in these folders, and then I have to go with a larger folder that's just too big. Okay, so this is what it looks like stored for me right now for the stencils. So when I use this stencil, I'm probably going to make an extra completed ink blended stencil sheet and then put it in the front of this folder so I know what it looks like once it's actually been blended. Moving on to day 8, right down in here, looks like it's probably another die set, which is why I buy these. I love the dies. They're my favorite die brands. Oh, this is the flowers with the pot. I think the vase is a nice shape here. And the fact that it comes with small flowers is great. I have a lot of floral sets, so I'm sure I have other flowers, not even just from advent calendars, just, you know, generally speaking, clubs and whatnot that will probably have some florals that will fit in this. Alright, so we've got a long stem, vase, big flower, a couple more stems, we've got a couple leaves, and a couple flower pieces here. When you get up close, you can see the shapes kind of coordinate here where you put those in and layer them about. Alright, so this is the 7-piece die. That's pretty good. Alright, day 9 is up at the top. That's like the same shape and size as day 8. Let's see. Sequins for day 9. Okay. Now, I already have some of this color from the Crop and Create in March 25. But I will definitely take more. And I'm going to leave the sticky on, and I'm just going to attach it to the back of the door. I don't put the sequins in an envelope. If there's leftovers, I'll put them in a little screw top jar, but this lets me know it's from day 9 when I do my projects with this calendar. I do like to keep track of how many days that we're using and where they come from. That way when I put it on my social media, I can let you guys know what door it came out of. Alright, day 10 is very small. And down here, right in the middle, tiny little die set. Okay. Let's see. Oh, we've got some sentiments. Just saying hello. That's very nice. Okay. And just is so small, we're just gonna cut it open. It's gonna look so funny on this giant magnet. Alright. Some people do share magnets for the advent calendar stuff where they'll put multiple days on one magnet. I don't do that. This one I probably could because, you know, they're small enough and it's pretty obvious there's, you know, one die per word. So you're not going to end up going, oh, which piece is this? But sometimes what happens with these dies is there's a lot of small pieces and then you can't always remember which one goes to which design, and it's just easier if there's one design per envelope. You know that it's definitely going with that, and you know what it's supposed to make. So something to keep in mind if you're magnet sharing. I have seen people use really large, like 8.5 by 11 magnets, and basically draw lines down them indicating where the different sets are, and that could work too. I think it depends on what you prefer and what your storage situation looks like in whether it's your home or apartment or wherever you're at. All right, day 11. This would be, gotta be an embossing folder. It's long and skinny, man. All right, it is an embossing folder. This almost looks like a diamond print. Yeah, diamond print on a quilt. I don't think they call it diamonds, but I've definitely seen this on quilts before. I just don't know the name of the pattern. Hey, if you know the name of the style of quilt pattern, leave it in the comments so we can all learn something. For those of us who have I've definitely seen blankets like this, I just don't know what it's called. They even put a pull tab in. That's awesome. It's a bit tight. Okay. I love embossing folders. I don't think you can ever have too many embossing folders. They're great for every project. They add so much. And these are the same quality as the full-size Spellbinders embossing folders. They're just super mini and skinny, and usually on the other calendar to fill the whole card front, I needed to make 3 of these and glue them together. Not a problem. Alright, for those of you wondering how I store these, because I like to know where all my stuff comes from, I have these 5x7 envelopes. They're actually 5.5 by 7.5. I like the ones best with the Velcro. I think they stay sealed the best. And I think they're called with hoop closure, actually, on Amazon. You buy these on Amazon. They're super cheap. And I stick the embossing folders in here. Again, you could totally fit 2 embossing folders in this, and they're 1 piece each, so you would be able to see where it came from if you wanted to do that. And that's how I store these. All right, moving on to day 12. It's right next to day 11. It's a bit of a square. Really needing my Cricut pokey tool for this one. All right, we've got a glass of lemonade, but it's got a citrus slice. You could put an orange or a lime or a grapefruit and, color the interior differently depending on, say, you want it to be an orange Fanta, or, I don't know, not sure what drink. I mean, I guess you could just have it be grapefruit juice. I mean, it doesn't have to be a lemonade style drink, but it looks like lemonade to me from the get-go. So we have our citrus slice, we have our cup, and it has the debossing to show you where we're going to put more pieces. The outline of the cup, the straw. This is the top rim you'll put up here, and then the backing for the citrus so it can be multicolored. I think this one's very cute. And we've got 6 dies on it. Alright, let's hit up day 13. Right here. This looks like it could almost be a stamp set or a larger die set. Alright, first one, stamp set. I really like this one, and let me tell you why. This one is hello and thank you in several languages. So for hello, let's see, we've got hola, merci, ciao, hello, from me to you, bonjour, thanks, and gracias. I like to donate cards to different charities, and I love the idea that you could have hello in multiple languages. They take mostly birthday cards at the charities I go to, so the thank you wouldn't be something I would use for those, but I do love the multilingual aspect, and I think that gives a lot of options here, because I never know who ends up with the card. Alright. And we just cut a slice of cardstock there. And there we go. Alright, so now on to day 14, which is right here. Looks like another die set. is, oh, this is the French Bulldog. He's so cute. This was one of the reasons I ended up wanting to purchase this advent calendar. I think this is so adorable. I've seen so many people do so many cute cards with this one. Oh, I just spilled them everywhere. We might need a little magnet gripper. Hopefully they don't fall through the cracks. Okay. Alrighty, so we've got a heart. We have a beret and the head and the sweater, and these extra stripes here make the stripes that go on the sweater where there's some indenting. And this piece here is going to stack here for the mouth and nose. We have the ears, the neckerchief. I think this might be the ends of the neckerchief right here. Or no, that's the inside of the ears. Okay. Here we go. This is a pretty big set. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 dies in this one. Okay, now day 15. This looks like an embossing folder. The 2025 calendar had a couple embossing folders, a couple stamp sets, and a couple stencils, so I'm thinking that this one will be similar layout. Yes, this is an embossing folder that I really liked, and I was partially purchasing this for this folder. I could see myself using this frequently for little accent strips on a lot of projects. Has X's, O's, and squiggles. And we have the squiggle dies as well that you could add to that. I love that they put a pull tab in here so you could actually lift the folder out. I'm gonna have to clean up my trash pile here in a second. Alright, another trusty 5x7 Velcro folder. And I know it looks ridiculous, but part of the reason I like these in the folder isn't just to keep this, but sometimes when you have projects, you get extra pieces left over, and if you have them in a sealable folder, you can put the pieces with your embossing folder or die or stencil or whatever, so the next time you use it, you have something to start with if you like the colors you chose last time. Alright, so we've gone through day 15. There's 24 windows in here, so we are quite a ways through. A couple more over than half. Let's find day 16. Oh, super tiny. I'm wondering if this one is sequins. It's very small. Oh, it is not. It's very, very tiny die set. Okay. I'm gonna open up the magnet here first because I feel like these are really small. I brought my trash can over. Let's see. You made my day is what it says here. Alright, so just trim that up a bit. You made my day. Very tiny. Okay, day 17 is quite large. This looks like it could be a stamp or stencil. Oh, I was wrong. It's dies. This is the really pretty ticket frame dies that we saw on the back of the box that were part of the teaser. I think this is an awesome set. Let's give a lot of frames, I think, for a lot of smaller dies, which we've got in this kit. I think this is a very practical set to have in a stash. Also, I don't think I've seen ticket-ended nesting dies from anybody else, so there's the novelty of it as well. So that's 4 nested dies, and the largest one here is going to cut out at about 2 1/4 by about 2 inches. So that's pretty decent. All right, day 18 down here at the bottom. Looks like another die set. Sequins. Okay, I don't think I have this color yet. All right, that's a pretty like green blue. Very mermaid vibes, in my opinion. So, excellent to have a couple choice embellishments to use throughout the project. I made 80 cards with the 2025 Advent Calendar, so I'm hoping to make just as many, if not more, with this one. And if you're interested in seeing those 80 cards, check out the playlist. I have 2026 or 2025 Crafty Advent Calendar playlist on my channel here, and you can, you know, watch some of them get made start to finish, or you can just watch like the show and tell where it talks about having 80 cards. And oh, my hand's covering it. Day 19. Alright, this is our other stamp set here. Oh, this is a good one. Alright, happy birthday wishes. Have a sweet day. You are adored, and warmest thanks. All very practical and in a very cute font. Okay. Just to give you a look here at what these look like. These are definitely different style stamps than what you buy from their store. They don't feel as sticky. Alright, so there we go. Alright, 4 more boxes to go. We're moving on to day 20 here at the top. This is huge. This is probably a stencil. This is a really big square here. Oh yes, a 3-piece circle stencil. I happen to have a lot of circle stencils. If you do not have a circle stencil, something like this is excellent. I'm hoping the small size will come in handy, because mine are all much larger stencils than this. So I could see this being very handy, particularly if you're crafting at a friend's house, to be able to take something smaller. You would have to, you know, line them up next to each other if you wanted a larger pattern space. But these are about 3 1/4 square. I did measure correctly the first go about, so it will be enough to give you a panel for the front of your card. And if we put them on black, you can kind of see that it's gonna make like a bouquet pattern. All right, number 21 is down here. We're so close to the end of this calendar. Let's see. Oh, this one's the cute little popsicle. I'm hoping this is a good small but not small size, because I'd like it to be just small enough for a bunch of my character critters to be able to hold on to it, but not too small either. You know, you want to be able to see it well, and it's got this cute bite taken out of it. I think it's just adorable. I have a lot of food stamps and dies. I find them quite appealing, particularly when they come with food puns. This one is very much glued together. They were not going to risk losing a single piece of this die. Okay, let's see what we've got here. We have the outline of the popsicle with the bite out of it. We have the interior, that way you can make the double popsicle stick. I ate those as a kid. I don't know if everybody else did. I always loved those. You got the wooden popsicle handle. This piece looks like it goes in there. And this piece goes in here. These are so you can get different color shading. And then for the bite mark, these pieces would stack. So this piece would come behind here. Possibly, I think like this to make the darker, and then you would have the smaller piece would layer on top of that to give you the appearance of a 3-dimensional bar that has a filling in it. This is quite a detailed set. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dies in this one as well. Alright, day 22, right here in the middle. And we've got more sequins. Oh, 3 bags of sequins. Okay. So let me pull them out. I have this color too. I think they came with a card kit when I had them. They're a nice color, a light pink. Oh, and they just blew open. Okay, these will be going in a baggie. Or actually, let me just tape this closed real quick. Missing sequins. Oh my goodness. Be very careful when you open it. That was quite messy. All right. So we've got the day 22 is pink sequins. Day 18 is the green ones. And day 9 they gave us yellow. So that's actually pretty great for shaker cards to have 3 varieties of color and they all go together. All right, I'm gonna take a minute to clean all the sequins up and then we'll open the last 2 doors. All right, day 23. Here we go. This cat is one of the reasons I got this folder or this advent calendar, because I thought the cat was just so cute and it's riding on a balloon. And if you watched my 2025 advent calendar, you'll see that the dog in there, I made him riding a balloon on several cards, and I totally got that idea from this die set from having watched other people create it the year prior. I was very happy when they had extra advents available at the end of the year. That way I could grab one too, because I had missed the order opportunity in 2024. All right, so not as many pieces, which means it'll be a little bit easier to put together. If a big cat, you have all the balloon strings and bows that go around the waist and hold the balloon up. And this little circle here, I assume, is going to end up somewhere near these bows probably, or potentially behind the nose to give it some color, but very cute. And that's 4 dies. All right, and our final box, day 24, it's a bit larger. All right, this one is a suitcase. Good for any kind of travel cards or travel scrapbook pages. All right, now let's take a look at these dies here, because this has quite a few pieces to it. All right, so you got the outline of the luggage. Now, this could also be something that you cut out for sentiments. And then the interior on its own looks like a ticket. So you have a ticket die as well as a luggage die now. And then we've got a little airplane and these are the insignia, like the stickers. You got some belt buckles to hold it together. The straps on the tag. So here we go. You see the deboss here. You'll put a couple of these. Then you'll put the handle on. And then you'll have buckles. And you'll have a tag hanging off. Very cute. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they did it all in 6 dies. It's nice they'll cut out multiple things at once. Alright, so we've opened up all the boxes. There really isn't anything savable on the back unless you want the cardboard for anything, but I do want some of the front pieces. So what we can do is we can tear the top off the front and just have to open it up like a box. Okay. And then the tray where all the dies were, we'll lift out and you get rid of this. And just to make it easier on my desk, I'm going to cut it in half. And I'm going to toss the back half because I'm not going to try to recycle any of that. And then flip it over to the front so you make sure you don't cut what you want. And then I'm just cutting off all of these interior borders because they are bent and they're making it hard to get this to lay flat. And when I cut things out, I want them to cut smoothly. And when you have something that's bent, that's twisting your paper as you cut it, you make mistakes. Okay, so again, you could cut this smooth and straight and then use this. This could make like a folder divider for something. I, however, like to use some of the images in my cards for the year. So I try to upcycle at least part of the packaging. The balloon is just too big for a card. However, the clouds and the flowers are not. And even though the clouds don't necessarily have a whole piece of all the clouds, when you glue them on, you can put them behind something or hang them off the edge of the card and no one will ever know that you didn't have the full cloud. And then with the flower, we'll fussy cut this later so it doesn't get bent up. But this is its own die cut essentially. Alright, if you'd like to see how I use these, please check back with my Crafty Advent Calendar playlist. I do recommend subscribing because I don't know how long it'll be before I put all the, get everything filmed and put up. But if you're looking for tips and tricks, what I like to do is, as I usually pick out one pattern paper pad that's relatively generic but pretty, and then I will go through and make multiple fistfuls of all of these items, like anywhere from like 3 to 10 of each calendar item, and then I'll make them all in the colors that match the pattern paper, and then you can have tons of cards that are very similar but different, so they're not identical and they've got different pieces. It makes it very fun to assemble them. It's a lot of work up front to do all the stamping and die cutting, mainly die cutting in bulk, but that's how I ended up with 80 cards in 2025 for the Advent Calendar. I imagine that you could get 80 cards out of every calendar if you were to do something like that, because you have so many different pieces and sentiments and whatnot. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed watching this quick open unboxing and that you will enjoy any projects. And if you have projects, I would love for you to link your videos or your Instagram or whatever. Tag me in it because I'd like to see them too. Have a crafty day.